On social media over the last couple of days, everybody, I'm talking media, I'm talking fans, I'm talking heads, I'm the whole 9 yards, is blaming Brian Callahan for this. Now, is this really all Brian Callahan's fault? This 20-12 loss at Denver? Yes, you win the turnover battle 4-1. You should never lose a game when you win the turnover battle 4-1. You also shouldn't commit 2 less penalty yards than you have offensive yards in a game. That should never happen. You should lose that game. So things were in the Titans' favor. Things were in the Broncos' favor. This game was truly, I talked about it in the season preview that's available in our archives. This was truly a bounce-a-ball game. One that I didn't expect to be a bounce-a-ball game, honestly. Bounce-a-ball game meaning 1 or 2 plays, 1 or 2 bounces of the ball the other way, and we're looking at a completely different game here. So, let's go back and let's look at some of the things that happened in the game, and let's figure out, I'm not saying let's figure out whose fault it is, but the point that I'm trying to make is that I don't think this is as much Brian Callahan's fault as everybody says. So, here are a couple of reasons why it is Brian Callahan's fault, okay? He mishandled the end of the first half. He threw the ball 3 times inside the 10-yard line, and the Broncos didn't have to use any timeouts. They got a touchdown out of the deal. Terrible execution. Maybe you run, he said in his press conference he was trying to run a screenplay so that he could get the ball moving and the clock going and whatever, but it didn't work out. Run the ball, you get the clock moving. Denver's probably going to go to half and because they get the ball first, and it's fine. But instead, the Broncos get the ball back, they score a touchdown, they go up 10-6. If we go to half like that, yes, it's terrible. But the Titans made lemonade out of the lemons they were given. Jim DK with a 70-yard kickoff return put them in a position to kick a field goal, and it was 10-9 instead of 10-6. So, not nearly as bad as what it may seem on the surface. Let's look at the penalties. 13 penalties, I think it was 13, for 131 yards. And as Brian Callahan said, there are holding penalties that some crews call, and some crews don't call them. Some crews call more penalties than not. So it's a give and take with that. Okay, fine. The Jeff Simmons penalty, absolutely not Brian Callahan's fault. Jeff Simmons penalty at the end of the game, giving the Broncos an extra minute and a half to run off the clock, just absolutely atrocious. I took him to task on the postgame show talking about how much he is a great leader and he can't be doing stupid stuff like just stupid. You can't do that. And he said it in the postgame. He knows that was a dumb mistake. He let his emotions get the best of him, but you can't do that, especially when you're in a position to win a ball game. So, all those penalties, Brian Callahan didn't commit those penalties. Brian Callahan is not one of the 22 players on the field. He didn't commit them. Now, can you turn that back around to coaching and you want to coach them to be more disciplined? Yes, of course. This was a problem last year that Brian Callahan said that he thought that we were past playing undisciplined football. Apparently we're not. So we got to go back to square one. We got to go back to the basics and get all that figured out. But at the end of the day, Brian Callahan was not one of the 22 players on the field committing those 131 yards worth of penalties. That is not his fault. A big thing that Titans fans are taking him to task for is the Alec Ayumanner catch or no catch. His elbow is down. The rule book states an elbow equals 2 feet. It was an incomplete pass on the field. Callahan did not challenge it. Callahan's replay assistant did not tell him to challenge it. He was moving on. So, a lot of people are saying, well, Brian, you didn't know the rule. Brian, you didn't know the rule. Well, Brian said he misspoke at the end of the game. And that was on him for not taking that into consideration, not looking at it closer, those kind of things. Yes, that one is on him. Here's why I would go a step further and blame Brian Callahan for this. Brian is so wrapped up in the next offensive play call. He's so wrapped up in what the defense is putting on the field. So he has to know the look. He has to know all those things. Nick Holz, the offensive coordinator, and him are communicating. And then Brian has to get the call into Cam in 15 seconds and make sure they're on the same page. So when things like that come up, yes, he's supposed to have somebody there to be able to help him out on that. But that's not his singular focus in the moment. I feel like if you're not calling plays and you're not focused on those kind of things, maybe you have more time to dissect that, and maybe you can use more of that play clock to decide whether you want to challenge this call or not. I'm just saying. All that to say, yes, that is Brian Callahan's fault. So, the drops, Calvin Ridley's drops, not Brian Callahan's fault. The offensive play calling, the rhythm of the play calling, of course, Brian Callahan's fault. But all that to say, so many people are already calling for Brian Callahan's head. So many people want him fired. They want the whole coaching staff fired. Just listen. If I can say anything else about this Tennessee Titans team, I've said it all off season, and I'm going to keep saying it. This is a young football team, and what happens in young football teams? They make mistakes. They have to learn. They have to adapt. This was Cam Ward's first game, and I thought he played pretty stinking well in this game. But they're young. This was a road environment. This was arguably the number one defense in the NFL. They led the NFL in sacks last year, and they showed exactly why. Going up against an offensive line that is experienced but maybe is not gelled all the way. In a road environment, being able to tee off, took advantage of the J.C. Latham injury and just teed off on the rookie quarterback. Did Cam make some mistakes and allow some of those sacks? Yeah, probably a couple. But all that to say, what did we expect? I don't know any analyst in the Talking Heads media space that picked the Titans to win this game. So for Titans fans to have this unrealistic expectation that we're going to go in there to Denver and win this game, you shouldn't be upset by the result. Now, where I will give you some grace is the Titans were in a position to win the game and they did not execute correctly. Yes, you can be frustrated by that. But the fact that they overcame so many penalty yards and 4 field goals, no touchdowns, they overcome all those things, and they're on the road in a tough environment, mile-high city, and they got a shot to win at the end with all these young players against a team that went to the playoffs last year and is bound for the playoffs again this year. For us to have a chance to even win or tie it at the end of the game, I feel like that's a huge win for this young team. And I feel like a lot of Titans media, a lot of Titans fans, a lot of national media just aren't seeing it that way. Let's call this a win. Of course, you don't want an AFC win to get away from you. That's one on the road that you could get and that you were excited for. And yes, I get it. But again, this is a young football team. They're going to get better. They're going to learn from their mistakes. I saw growth from Brian Callahan from year 1 to year 2. Let's not forget, we're talking about a rookie quarterback here. This is only Brian Callahan's second season as head coach. It's the first time he's ever called a regular season game with Cam Ward. He talked about that in various interviews and press conferences. He didn't know how that was going to go. I thought it went okay. There's some things they need to work on, and he said that both on Cam's end and on Callie's end. But I just feel like we're overreacting. And yes, I know that's what week 1 is for. We overreact and we draw conclusions that should not be there. And that's just the joy of the NFL. Calm down. Let's just calm down, guys. It's okay. Let's temper our expectations a little bit. It's not the end of the world. It's 0-1. It's not 0-17. Now, I said in the intro of this podcast, the Titans have gone 0-1 the last 4 seasons in a row. I get that. For the record, the last one was in 2020 that they won. It was on the road against Denver in Monday night. I know. But having said that, let's just pump the brakes a little bit. Let's temper our expectations. Week 1's done. This is Tuesday. Teams moving on. They're going to start walkthroughs tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get an update on J.C. Latham and his injury. Hopefully L'Jarius Sneed will get ramped back up and be okay. Hopefully Kevin Winston Jr. might be able to work his way into the lineup this week. Jarvis Brownlee, we hope he's okay. Had a couple guys banged up. So we'll see how all that goes towards the end of the week. Just don't panic. It's one game. It's okay. This is the Believe in Titans podcast. And you could argue that we believe in the Titans. As hard as it might be, I'm telling you right now, I don't think this team's going to get to the 7 wins that I predicted, but we can believe in this team. There were some great things that happened in that game. My name is Chris Belcher, and if you want to blast me on social media for being a homer or, all those kind of things, at Chris Belcher 24 is where you can find me on X and on Instagram. I'm happy to argue with you on social media about all this. I am. Because I just think so many people are just getting so bent out of shape on this. So as I said, we're turning the page. We're getting rid of the Broncos. That one is done. We are on to week 2, where we host the Los Angeles Rams. Now, coming up on Thursday, I will be with Aaron and Tyler, the Believe in Rams podcast. We're going to do a collab preview that you don't want to miss. It's going to drop on both of our feeds, so be sure that you check that out. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And if that's not enough, David Behrman of Betting with Behrman is going to join us also on Thursday to give you his insights, his best bets for this Titans and Rams game. So if you're a betting man, you're a betting woman, and that appeals to you, make sure you come join us. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Rate the show, review the show, all of those kind of things. We would appreciate that so very much. Let's turn the page to the Rams. This Sunday, 12 p.m. Central kickoff at Nissan Stadium. The Rams right now, if we're looking it up at FanDuel, is the show, of course, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. 5.5-point favorites are the Rams coming into Tennessee. A win total of, looks like 42.5 right now is where it has moved to. So that line will, of course, be moving through the week. So that's one to keep an eye on. But if you listen to our season preview, you know that I picked the Titans to beat the Rams in this game. Rams coming off a 14-9 defensive battle at home against the Houston Texans. We appreciate you guys notching that win for us, especially since we didn't win. But looking at the Rams, the one thing that I brought up in the preview, they are one of 3 teams from last year to have 4 players with 40-plus quarterback pressures last season. How many did they get on this past Sunday against C.J. Stroud? They hit him 7 times, and they had 3 sacks and an interception. So, Titans fans, offensive line better be stepping up because it ain't going to get much easier. Jared Verse, who had 4.5 sacks last year, did not get one last week. He's going to be itching to get his first one. Josiah Stewart, the rookie, is slowly working his way into the lineup. Lots of guys did good things for them last week. So we're going to have to be, our blocking scheme is going to have to be on point this week. Puka Nacua had an injury scare earlier in the game. He came back and had a very nice day. Kyron Williams, serviceable day, 3.7 yards per carry and a touchdown. Only longest run was 9 yards, so that's something to look out for. Hopefully the Titans can bottle him up a little bit. Devontae Adams, the longtime Green Bay Packer, 4 catches, 51 yards in his debut with the Rams. Other than Puka and Devontae, 14 receptions between them. Everyone else for the team had 1 catch. Colby Parkinson had 2, but he had negative yards. So everybody else only 1 catch. So they spread the ball around quite a bit. So defense, again, going to have to be on their toes Obviously, you want to look at Matthew Stafford, how he's going to come off of performance with that back injury in the offseason. We'll have to see if he's limited at all this week, just how that did for him. We'll have to see how that goes. Of course, they are projected to finish number 1 in the NFC West, and they are off to a great start, 1-0. So, Titans are going to have to be on their game. I do still like my pick for the Titans to win this game. I know I predicted it early. It's the first home game. I feel like there's going to be a lot of juice, a lot of energy. I feel like Jeff Simmons is going to be out to prove a point. Cam Ward's going to be out to prove a point. Brian Callahan's going to not let this season slip away. And you got a 5.5-point home underdog in their first home game against a West Coast team. If the offensive line can hold up and have success, I think the Titans will at least be in a position to win this game at the end. The question is, can they execute better than last week? Got to get in the end zone. Got to turn those 3 red zone field goals into 6 points. We got to execute better. Okay, there's no bones about it. Got to get in the end zone. So, we'll see how it goes. Again, hopefully L'Jarius Sneed can ramp up. Kevin Winston Jr. can get in there. We can see some more good things from Femi Oladejo. Rookies stepping up and doing some nice things. Hopefully we can take the load off Tony Pollard a little bit. We could get some Julius Chestnut and some Khalil Mullings action. Hopefully Calvin Ridley doesn't drop all these passes. We'll see. I still like the Titans, though. I like them to come out and play much better in week 2. All right. That is going to do it for this edition of the Believe in Titans podcast. We appreciate you guys being with us. Week 2 means another week of fantasy football. How did you fantasy folks do out there? I know I'm in 2 leagues, and I won my game in both leagues. It was close. I survived the Xavier Worthy injury in one matchup, and in the second one, I survived even with not putting Zay Flowers in my starting lineup. What was I doing? I trusted Devontae Smith too much. Anyway, regardless, I survived. Hope you guys survived too. Hope your fantasy is doing well. Hope your betting is going well in week 1. I know week 1 is tough to judge. Some people think it's a glorified preseason game, but hopefully that is going well for you too. We're doing great here on the Believe in Titans podcast, even though we're 0-1. Again, a 20-12 loss to the Denver Broncos, but lots of good things to take away from that game. Make sure that you are locked in with the Believe in Titans podcast all season long. Rate the show, review the show. 5 stars is the best way to do that on whatever platform that you are listening on. And if you're on the Believe Podcasting YouTube channel, like this video. That's a thumbs up under the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notifications bell. That way you know each and every time that Believe is live, Believe posts a new show, all those kind of things. If you stumbled upon this show and you're not really a Titans fan, maybe you stumbled upon it because you're a Broncos fan, or you stumbled upon it because you're a Rams fan. They have podcasts as well, so go check them out. There's something for everybody on the Believe Network. And it's not just NFL, there's college, all of those kind of things. Go check out your show on the Believe Podcasting Network. Thank you so much for being with us on another edition of the Believe in Titans podcast. My name is Chris Belcher, and until next time, tighten up.